Who's gonna carry the boats? Who's gonna carry the logs? The No Fate channel checking in. Jonathan here, and we have a crazy home gym week in review. That's right. We've got Rep Fitness dropping a brand new release. Not to be outdone, we've got Rogue Fitness, yep, doing the same thing. We also have Home Gym Con controversy and a whole lot more. Let's go! Rep Fitness has dropped their pull-up bar extension brackets, brand new. And at first glance, when I got notified of this and I was looking through some of the photos, I was about as excited as when Rogue dropped their collaboration with Crocs. Yeah, I was that excited. And as usual, I was completely wrong. I gave it a little bit more thought and it dawned on me. Even though in my home gym, I have the Athena, when it comes to space saving in a tight, small gym space, the best thing you can do is go with a 4-post Aries. There's so much versatility packed into a small space, but one thing you don't have the ability to do with the 4-post Aries is pull-ups. And as my longtime subscribers already know, I love me a pull-up bar, and the fact that they have put this in is amazing because, as I mentioned, that 4-post Aries, I happen to believe, is probably the best space-saving option available for the home gym. I think Rogue has a comparable unit, but that's just a flip of a coin on whether you go Rogue or Rep. But man, oh man, I am a big fan of this 4-post option. Now, in reading through the dimensions and all of the online stuff, the one thing that I could not find an answer to is, can you also use their multi-grip pull-up bar? Because if you've ever seen any of my home gym training, you know I have that multi-grip pull-up bar. And what's better than a pull-up bar? A pull-up bar with more handle angles. And I am a big fan of the multi-grip pull-up bar. And I have to imagine, based on the design of the hole spacing, that yes, you can use a multi-grip pull-up bar. It will fit in there. Now, Rep Fitness announced a brand new release that's way bigger than just pull-up bar extension, and that is their wall-mounted Aries 2.0. And when it comes to a home gym, I know we tend to see influencers with these massive football field type of home gyms, but most of us are training in the corner of a basement, or they're training in the corner of a garage. And oh yeah, by the way, we need to actually get our car in that garage. It's not just a filming studio. So having the ability to do the wall mount is a great way to save just a ridiculous amount of space. And I don't have a price point on this. It says coming soon. I'm imagining it's going to be on pre-order, that they'll drop the price, and as usual, it will be less than what it will be later on down the road. They'll give some incentive to people who want to be the first to purchase it. Now let's quickly talk about space savings. In a home gym, every inch counts. So what's the difference between the wall-mounted unit and the 4-post unit? And that is these feet. From what I gathered is you get to basically not need these feet with your Aries. If you have a 4-post, Rep Fitness says you need to have these feet in order to make sure you're 100% safe. If you drop a heavy load on your safeties way out here, you're not going to have this thing kind of lift up and tip over. I was at Home Gym Con. They had a 4-post Aries, but it had wings. Yes, it had the same storage units that you see here, and it was not fixed to anything. It was a standalone unit. Now, I don't know if that's because it was Home Gym Con and they knew no one was going to be squatting like 350 pounds in the thing and doing like test drops, or if it's just so stable with these extra wings and of course the plate storage that you don't need those feet. So on paper, you're supposed to save over about 20 inches of space between the wall-mounted and the 4-post unit, in large part because of these feet right here that stick out. And the reason I don't think that's as massive as you might think, or as necessary in terms of trying to save every inch of space, is that these feet are not big. I mean, don't get me wrong, they'll get in your way if you're trying to store a whole bunch of stuff, but if you're in a garage situation and you're trying to pull your car all the way up and into the garage, yes, you can literally have these things right between the wheels and you should be able to pull the front of your car right up in here into the sweet spot. Now, I couldn't find it written in the interwebs on the Rep Fitness website, and I'm sure they're not gonna confirm that this is a viable option for safety's sake, but I have to imagine that if you got the 4-post Aries 2.0 and you got these wings with the plate storage and the barbell storage and the pegboard, and that thing looks fantastic, that you wouldn't need the front feet here whatsoever. So the space savings between this 4-post unit and the wall-mounted unit, okay, if you have those wings, same exact thing. There would be no differential in terms of the space savings, at least by my calculations. And if I'm making a massive mistake, you guys, by all means, blow me up in the comments section. I could be missing something completely obvious. It wouldn't be the first time. Now, if I was starting over from scratch and I had a super small space, I wouldn't go with the wall-mounted unit, believe it or not. I know that's gonna save a lot of space and be really helpful for a lot of people, but I would probably spend the extra money. Yeah, I know, who wants to hear that? Spend the extra money, get the 4-post Aries, but in order to bypass the feet, make sure I'm getting those extra plate storage wings with the pegboard. I think that is gonna be a no-brainer. Whether you are going to get the wall-mounted unit or not, links, of course, are in the description. Check them out. I will say it's a great release from Rep Fitness. It shows that they're continuing to evolve on their pre-existing racks and that they are helping customers build great gyms in exceptionally small spaces. On top of that, it just gives you more options. When you go onto the website, you're able to pick and choose a bit more to what fits your specific space. And if you're not even interested in the Aries, it's still good for you as a consumer, because now other companies see this release and they have to get up on their horse and ride. They've got to produce more equipment, more upgrades, and be consistent with improving their existing gear. A lot of the upgrades that we've seen over the past few years are largely because Rep Fitness has been pushing that bar further and further up. Rogue Fitness refuses to be one-upped by Rep Fitness. They went ahead and released their CG-1 BMG crossbow multi-grip cable attachment. Rogue Fitness has really gone all in on these attachments. I will say that a lot of people have functional trainers. They've got lat pull downs and low rows, and they're not going to buy a new one of those, but they kind of want to spice it up. They want an extra attachment to just enjoy their home gym, enjoy their hobby, and just improve the quality of their workouts in terms of experience, not necessarily in terms of muscle gain. And this is nice because you get a few options. So this is going to come in with dual handles. The ones on the outside are fixed straight, but the ones on the inside, you can go straight, 16 degrees, or 20 degrees ultra aggressive. Rogue also has their CG-1B crossbow. I really think the marketing team has to work on their naming scheme because it's just a mouthful. I'm not gonna lie. I will say this is cheaper at $105, and I would not buy this one. Reason being, I got a feeling for a lot of people, especially if you're on the wider side, it's just going to be too narrow of a grip. You can flip it upside down and get like different types of activation, but I think your best bet for a good experience and for your money is to go with the crossbow multi-grip cable attachment. Would I go straight or angled? I'd probably go angled. I wouldn't go 20. I'd probably go with the 16 angled, and then you get the straight here on the side. But as I mentioned, Rogue Fitness is absolutely going into the attachment business. You can see they went with the CG-1 cable and landmine attachments. That had a little bit of controversy when it came to potentially copying, but I think the fact that Rogue is dropping so many attachments. Look at all these attachments that they've got. They've also got the CG-1X. Listen, the naming scheme on here has to change, but clearly, if you want handles, Rogue has them. Now, are these, let's just face it, are these worth the price of admission? And the answer all depends on whether you're going to use it. The reality is, none of these things are going to break. There's nothing on here to break. I think you could take a sledgehammer to some of these things and you wouldn't be able to break it in a week. You wouldn't be able to break it in a month. You would just be tired out trying to break it, and you would scratch it pretty good, but it would still function as a cable and landmine attachment. The reality is, as long as you use it, it's probably going to be worth the price of admission. I don't think anyone's ever gotten an attachment, used it, and been like, man, I overpaid for that. And the truth is, as long as you use it, it's worth it. Now, these are nice because they're made in America, which I think a lot of people appreciate. Now, I know we all get pulled in when it comes to new releases, new drops. We've got to keep up with the Joneses of the home gym community because we don't want to fall behind on those gains. And I know this is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, but getting a really expensive handle for your functional trainer or lat pull down a low row, it's not going to get you any more gains, okay? It's not going to get you any more dates. It's not going to get you any more plates. It is just going to be a slightly better experience as a hobby of the home gym community. If you are looking to maximize your gains, but also maximize what money you have in your wallet, just go on Amazon, buy these junk things, and they are junk, and I'll tell you, I've owned them before. I still have a few of these kicking around that I still use. They will work, they will hold up, they will last. You get something like this and you're gonna find that it's gonna do the job. That handle right here, boom, that's fine. You grab this for a low row. These handles right here, I bought these D type of handles from a different company. A little bit of WD-40, a little bit of super lube in there. You give it that huck and spit on that thing. And these things are gonna go from a $10 pair of D handles to a $100 pair of D handles. What would the home gym community be without a whole lot of controversy? And yep, we've got it here this week in this Home Gym Weekend Review. I released my first Home Gym Con video, and that was a Bells of Steel booth tour. Had a fantastic time at Home Gym Con, got so much content, I almost don't know what to do with, and I figured, let's just line it up and tackle it. I mean, how do you eat an elephant? The answer is one bite at a time, and that's what I did. So I dropped this basically straight up exciting Home Gym Con booth tour of Bells of Steel. We had some interviews, we had some training in there, we had some laughs, we had David Goggins, okay? What's not to love about this video? And before I knew it, I got so much hate in the comments section. And at first, I didn't know what was going on. They were telling me that Bells of Steel is woke and Bells of Steel stuff is junk and all this stuff. And I will tell you, I don't believe Bells of Steel stuff is junk. I think they offer great products in terms of their price points, and they are basically what Titan Fitness used to be, but a better version of it. And they've got some really interesting equipment that allows you to specifically dial in for your needs, whether it is a deadlift platform or it's a power rack. You can choose your own adventure. It's like Legos. But what's with all of the angst and negative comments towards Bells of Steel and my video? Because there was nothing political in my video, and it has to do with this gentleman, Ivan Djurek, and I think I'm pronouncing his last name wrong, and I apologize. I've actually watched a bunch of his videos. He goes back a year, 2,200 videos. He's been doing this for quite a while, and he just shoots from his hip. And what I didn't know is that he was a Bells of Steel sponsor. Now, that's different than an affiliate. An affiliate means I've gotten a link, and I just tell you to click that link in the description because it helps me out. A sponsor gets a stipend every month towards either just straight out cash or towards future equipment in order to kind of rep the Bells of Steel brand. And that has different expectations, I think, than an affiliate. Well, he put out a video stating that he was no longer a sponsor, in large part because of something that he said. Now, he didn't know specifically what it was, but I will tell you, he does talk about some political topics, and I've got no skin in the game. I could care less what you want to talk about. I believe in free speech. He was talking about fat shaming and fat acceptance and all of the controversy behind that. And I think there was a couple of other topics that he had recently talked about, Bells of Steel caught wind of, and for whatever reason, they didn't like it, they didn't appreciate it, they didn't feel like it meshed with their brand. So they dropped him as a sponsor. And believe it or not, this happens all the time. Very rarely do athletes get a sponsorship from a company and just stay that sponsor forever. They tend to go in spurts where they're sponsored for a few years and then they change it up, or they drop, or they see different, they just kind of go their separate ways. And in this situation, Bells of Steel just said, hey, we don't want to sponsor. Now, it could have been a financial thing. They could have just said, hey, we don't want to keep shelling out money and not see good results or what we perceive to be good results. Tons of other companies sponsor athletes. Rogue Fitness is notorious for sponsoring tons of athletes. And I'll tell you, those get shuffled in and out depending on where they see the value. Even Rep Fitness sponsored a powerlifter, World's Strongest Gay. I'm not making it up. That's his name. That's his Instagram handle. I'll put his feed up here. And he actually calls himself the World's Strongest Gay, and they sponsored him for a year or two. made a ton of content, and now he's not on the website. You don't see him anywhere because they just stopped sponsoring, and that happens. And I don't think Ivan was actually mad. If you actually watch his video, and I did watch his video all the way through, he wasn't that upset. He still said good things about Bells of Steel, and he just said he was moving on, and he had no hard feelings, and it was what it was, and that he's going to continue to say what he wants to say. So I've got the sinking sensation that all of his subscribers, his fanboys, decided that they were going to have some type of response by going onto YouTube, finding any Bells of Steel video that is recent, and simply dropping negative comments. That's everyone's right to kind of go on and bash the company that they don't like. Do I think it's a bitch move? Yeah. It kind of is, okay? Because my video had nothing to do with any type of affiliation or political stance, but it's what they do. And unfortunately, it does kill the view duration, the YouTube algorithm, because they pop on, they drop some coward comment, and then they pop off. The reality is, if you don't like Bells of Steel, if you've got something against them completely, the best thing you can do is just to not buy any of their stuff and simply move on down the road. And by using your money, you can direct what becomes relevant. And if you don't spend your money at Bells of Steel, they won't become relevant, or they'll have to change their current directive, their current branding. In a previous video, which I will link in the description, I reviewed the Run treadmill, and I thought it delivered a good performance to the price point that it was charging. The company reached out and they wanted me to review their lower end model. So this is their cheaper version, and I want to give you my hot take, my honest review, the dish on this thing. Now you can go on Facebook Marketplace and get a used one for a couple hundred. The other problem with that, besides having to go get it, is that you've got to test it out to make sure you're not going to be buying someone else's headache and problems. So there is a nice feeling of having something delivered right to your home and setting it up in less than 15 minutes. And I will say this comes in at a reasonable price point, between $250 and $350 on Amazon, depending on which codes are running at the time. And right out the gate, it looks nice, it's easy to assemble, easy to use, it has the safety feature. One of the things I like is that it's got arms. A big rage today when it comes to home gym cardio are these walking pads, and I say they have their place because they're easy to store, as well as the fact that they are just easy to walk on, and you can use them with the standing desk, you can use them in front of your TV. My only caveat with that is that there's no arms, and if for some reason you get a little bit wobbly or you have a little bit of a spill left or right of that walking pad, boom, you could be injured, and that is a shame, especially if you're on the older side and you just want a walking pad to walk. You're not really trying to count your steps, you're just trying to kind of get that blood flowing. You probably want to make sure you're getting something with handles. Now, this does have a very small footprint, and you can store this to take up even less space, as you see. Now, unlike a walking pad, this does go up to 8 miles per hour and a 12% incline grade. So if you do want to run or you want to walk on an incline, this will do that. But obviously, when you do go budget, you have to make some sacrifices. And a couple of the negatives on this are, number one, the actual pad that you're going to be walking or jogging is rather narrow. As you go up in price, you tend to get a wider pad to give you a bit more leeway left to right, depending on your body size. The other problem is it's a little short. So I'm 6'1" for reference, and I will tell you, if you do decide to try to run on this, you're going to find your foot is like slipping off the back, and you really don't want that. Now, obviously, when I jog on this, I'm okay, but once I kick it up to the max speed, it's a little too close to the edge for my liking, and if you have a longer stride than I do, you're really going to be in trouble. Now, the biggest concern with this treadmill that I found is that it has almost like a millisecond hiccup. And what I mean by that, it's very hard to see in the video, but every time you put your foot down, there's even like a half millisecond where the motor almost like slows down and then catches back up. It is a little bit off-putting. I don't notice it as much when you walk at a slower speed, under 3 miles per hour, but when you bump that up to like 3 or 4 miles per hour walking, which is a pretty good clip, you notice it significantly, and yes, it is there when you run. Also, I was doing this at an incline. The higher the incline, the more you notice it. Something about the design of it or how the motor on here is catching just makes you feel like it's like stutter stepping, and it can be a nuisance, and frankly, almost a little bit unsafe. I really like this company. I think they're doing good stuff with offering good options, both walking pads and treadmills, with a wide range of price points. Unfortunately, this one just missed the mark in my opinion. The other problem is it doesn't actually come with wheels. I correct myself, it has wheels in the back. It has wheels back here, but that makes it ultra inconvenient to actually try to move this thing around. They should have put the wheels in the front so that you could have tipped this forward and move it around, whereas the wheels in the back are rather useless, and yeah, they don't even roll. They're like locked in, so they're just for show. Unfortunately, in good conscience, I just can't recommend this version of the Run treadmill. Again, I did like their other version that I reviewed. This one just missed the mark. Two things that don't miss the mark, these two home gym videos. Check them out. Use the links in the description to support this channel. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it's probably gonna take money out of millionaires' pockets. As usual, thanks for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back.